follow us on all social media.
Okay.
And then we will also have the first half of the podcast where we talked about the Ghostbusters movie on Proton scoring, which we'll have up for you in the
Proton scoring. I was gonna make a joke about Peacekeeper scoring because I watched Farscape last night.
Not Peacekeeper. No, it's Peacemaker. Sorry, you're right.
We could do Peacemaker scoring too, if you want.
We've also, because we were talking about he's getting caught up on Moon Knight right now. We're just catching up on everything except Obi-Wan, just to give let that topic sit and wait for us to dive into.
Toys or Obi-Wan?
Either one's good. For a second there, I thought you said boys, like as in the
Boys?
I'm like the boys from Amazon.
Comes back June 3rd.
It does.
Yeah.
Good day.
Good day.
Okay.
Like you're leaving?
June 3rd is a really good day. No, I'm saying it's a good day.
Good day. Good day. I'm sorry for the delay.
You're just raising kids and kind of the chaos that ensues from that is, his point was that, they say that the second kid is easier, but it's like that's only like a half truth because you still have the first kid to deal with when you have the second kid. So it's like his analogy, which was the best, was it's like new game plus. You kind of have an idea of what's going to happen, but you still have the original game to worry about, to all that experience that you have now. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, well, you definitely start with all the equipment this time.
Yeah,
that you had from last time. Dude, the second kid is new game plus. I like that.
Unless it's 10 years apart, like me and my mom, like because my little brother was 10 years later than me, so it's like, it's 10 years. We don't need the crib anymore. We don't need this anymore.
That's a sequel. That's a sequel. That's not new game plus.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we also have to talk about Jedi Survivor.
We do.
Yeah. I did watch the trailer because video games are video games, and who knows what happens in a video game. Although when we get to Obi-Wan, there's some interesting interaction there.
Yeah, they're definitely, the timeline is there.
The timeline has been established as to what things are when. Very definitively. Okay, carbon scoring time. So let's start with, I'm excited about this. And I heard you guys talking about toys. And so I just want to get it over with. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. So I have some what do they call the new 375 retro? No, not retro.
The vintage collection.
Vintage collection.
Yeah.
And I had some Boba Fett's that are now apparently worth some money. And I was like, well, maybe I won't open those to have the kids play with them. I wonder if there's any like Power of the Force Boba Fett's out there that are cheaper or whatever. And in my quick research, I found this little box. I don't know if you're going to be able to see everyone that's in it because of the reflections.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's fairly recent.
Yeah, it's a recent box.
2019 or 2020, right?
Yeah. Yep. So for the people that can't see it, it's, what is this?
For people who can't see it, head over to Instagram at We Were Gamers.
Well, see, it's got Bosk, Django, IG88, Boba, and the what's Honda's droid called? Shoot.
Oh, I know. It's on there, isn't it? Don't they number it?
R5P8.
There you
go. But there's like a nickname I thought for him. So then I was like, well, I can't have Hondo's droid without getting Hondo. So I added on Hondo.
Yeah. That's fair.
So now I have Hondo to go with the bounty hunters. And I was like, well, if I've got Hondo and I've got all these other bounty hunters, I should probably that's not a complete group. So where's Dengar at? And I added on Dengar. Where is Dengar at? I mean, come on, really, right? Like, having watched how many shows now? Mandalorian and Boba Fett. There's been ample opportunity for Dengar to show up. So
he's still hiding in the background of Jabba's palace, now Boba's palace.
Just hanging out somewhere.
Yeah. You guys,
gonna-
you guys know that he was in Return of the Jedi, right? He's like one of the when they're standing around the grate that opens up that goes down to the Rancor pit when Luke's in there. Dengar is just like one of the people hanging out in the background. Did you know that?
Mhm.
I didn't know that until like a few years ago. I had never noticed him.
Oh.
But, so that's what I'm referencing.
Well, you can't have Dengar and Bosk and IG-88 and Boba Fett without adding
Forlom and Zuckuss.
Forlom and Zuckuss. Yeah.
Forlom and Zuckuss. And then, the place that had Forlom and Zuckuss also had a pretty good deal on this terrible bounty hunter. So, we'll let people beat up on Greedo. That's cool. And, why not just add, since we've got Mandalorian and Boba Fett at this house, we should probably have Fennec Shand also. So now I think the collection's pretty complete in terms of the 375 size bounty hunter grouping. I can't think of many other people to add to it.
That is pretty solid.
I don't know. I mean, am I missing anyone that you can think of off the top of your head? That's like, oh, well, what about, I don't think so.
Do you just Cad Bane?
Oh, do they make a 375? Oh, they probably do. They did make a 375.
I don't think that they've
Cad
made
Bane.
one recently, but
Right.
they definitely did during the Clone Wars lines. So,
Well, given that Cad spoiler. Oh yeah, this is why I don't have a Cad Bane, because he's $55. From the Clone Wars line.
Yeah, I haven't been tracking it that closely, and I know everything went up in price since COVID. Like, just collectibles, just all collectibles have just sort of skyrocketed in value. But I don't think that he was as expensive within the last. Like, I think that
Mando really redid it. Huh?
COVID and Book of Boba Fett really made him
Book of Boba Fett.
Go up in price. I don't think he was anywhere. You probably, like 3 years ago, you probably could have gotten one for like $20.
I bet you.
And what's also possible. Sorry to interrupt. It's also possible too, because they showed pipeline reveals for the vintage collection as well as some Black Series stuff, and at Star Wars Celebration, which we are recording just after, they showed a pipeline reveal for, I want to say, Paz Vizsla, the Jon Favreau character in Mandalorian. They showed a Star Killer figure they're going to do, and one other. And I'm like, it's such an odd thing to me where it's like with vintage collection, which is funny that the three of us make up the three different lines. Like Kit is more retro, I'm Black Series, and then you're vintage collection. And we're like the three lines. I mean, but also I think we probably all get the Galactic Heroes ones too, the little battle fleet, which is a mission fleet is what it's called. But we all have like those three different toy lines that they do. But like we could very well get a Cad Bane, a new one. Because I mean, there's a bunch of them that are out there and they're expensive now, but I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a new Cad Bane in the vintage collection. So
yeah,
they could just remake the old Cad Bane. I have I got a vintage collection Cad Bane 12 years ago. And like they could just send that one to the factory again. I'm sure they still have all of the stuff.
Looks like Target had a IG-86 Cad Bane 2-pack at some point. Huh. Well, I would not be surprised to see Cad Bane come back in 375. I kind of will drag my feet throwing Cad Bane at $65. I don't know about that one.
They're remaking lots of vintage collection stuff that they've previously made. Some of the time it doesn't seem like there's very many changes, but some of the times they like update the face printing or something like that. But I think that there's a really high probability that in the next year or two that there will be a Cad Bane, so I would hold off on that one.
The only thing missing for my desire then from 375 would be a Cal Kestis in that size, because Ken, you're right that I'm hoping to abandon the Black Series line because I find it to be too expensive. But there's no good option currently for the video game series characters. What do they call them? The gaming legends, gaming greats.
Gaming greats. Yeah, gaming greats.
Gaming greats doesn't exist outside of Black Series.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, which I think is a shame.
I mean, it is because there's a lot of characters.
There's gaming greats Well, I don't know if that's what they're called, but there's a battle droid from Battlefront 2 that they made in 375. I think I want to say that they've made 1 or 2 clones from Battlefront in 375.
Maybe. Oh, look, GameStop has Shay Vizsla in 375.
Yeah.
Shay Vizsla, noted character that everyone wants.
Heavy. I know that there's a battle droid heavy that's from Battlefront. So,
but I think there are some. There are some vintage. Yeah, because I was going to say, because I thought it was more of a Black Series.
I thought it was too.
But I guess that's so funny. Oh no, this just says gaming crates on it. It doesn't actually, but it doesn't have the brand. Oh, it does have the branding on the back. Okay, well there you go. They are doing some of those, but most of them are just repaints with that. But I mean, like I said, I do imagine with everything that's going on, especially with them pulling Starkiller back into the vintage collection, I can see them like, oh well, here's a Cad Bane figure. Here's some of the characters that they're going to pull back and like, oh, we don't have one of them in this scale.
How do you not have a Cal Kestis 3.75 when you have a Starkiller?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's just a matter of like when, like we don't have until recently, which another more celebration news, we just recently got the BD1 droid in Lego form, and it's like I think that they weren't ready to go in fully on Jedi Fallen Order. They're like, here's a couple things, and now they're like, okay, no, people loved it. We should have done like, where's our ninth sister figure? Where's like a bunch of different characters that they could have done aside from just like, here's a bunch of the trooper repaints. Like here's the Purge trooper twice with slightly different accents. Mm-hmm. Like this time around, they're going to be like, hey, here's the gas. We're going to hit it. Now that we had, I guess I was about to jump into other stuff down the line, but we can come to this later. But I think they're going to go heavier on the licensing for Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and we're going to see more toys. So I could definitely see a new Cal Kestis, which I hope he got a new outfit, but you probably still want that original outfit too in the TVC collection. So I don't know.
It looked like he was wearing something else in the trailer, and it's been 5 years. I would imagine they put the character in a new outfit. Maybe he keeps the vest. I noticed that they multiple times showed his lightsaber, and they're like, "Look, it's fixed." And you're like, "I know, I fixed it in the game." So I would see them saying it's not lost on me personally that like the BD1 droid got announced the same. I think it was 1 day ahead of Jedi Survivor's trailer hitting at the same time. They both came out during Celebration this past week. So I think it's likely. I'm not spending money thinking it's not going to happen, right? Like I would imagine pretty soon the 375 scale gets some love. Well, maybe not retro for you, Kit, though. I don't know.
Oh no, there's a if you want to talk about it now,
sure.
There's they announced okay, so they have officially announced one of the Obi-Wan figures. They announced Reva. I forget
third sister.
Is it the third sister? I can't remember what her designation was, but yeah,
I believe she's
Reva. And then I in the chat I uploaded a picture of the back of one of the display packaging. They had packaging on display, and they have all 6 figures listed. So there's Obi-Wan, Dark Times, Darth Vader. There's all 3 of the Inquisitors, and there's a droid that are coming for retro. And I'm hoping that there will be a Book of Boba Fett wave announced fairly soon that includes Fennec. Like I would really like a Fennec. We got a Book of Boba Fett. Yeah, well, we got a Book of Boba Fett Boba with the Mandalorian wave that came out with. So we got Ahsoka, we got Boba Fett, but they're still conspicuously missing Fennec. So I hope at some point we get a Fennec in the retro line. And a Rancor Keeper. I would really like a Danny Trejo 3.75.
If you're Danny Trejo, you approve that licensing immediately. Someone's like, we want to make a toy. Yep. Well, I didn't offer you. I didn't tell you how much. Doesn't matter. Like, you know. Go
I
ahead.
would imagine too, like they could do a new Rancor in the TVC line, and it comes with Rancor Keeper. Like that's how you sell it. Like every Rancor comes with its own Danny Trejo figure.
Wow.
I'd buy it. I'd want to be on board.
It's going to be strange. I mean, we're starting to fill in the gaps. We've got second sister, third sister, fifth brother, ninth sister.
Yeah, there's so many, like the Inquisitors are definitely, that lineup is filling up, and there's some that are only appeared in like a comic or two. But like also seeing some of them on screen and seeing like, oh, they brought in some actors and some characters, because there's like I think one more Inquisitor that I don't think has even had a line yet, and it's just like, okay, well, guess what?
The Twi'lek one.
She's not a Twi'lek because she's like her. I don't know what to call them. Leku. No, they're not Leku. Maybe they're Leku. They're Leku on Togruta, but I don't know what they're called.
I think that they're still called Leku on Twi'leks.
Yeah, so the Leku are smaller and they're just on the back of her head, so it's not. I don't think she's the same species.
Huh.
But yeah, like I don't think she had a line yet, but I do know that. I guess we'll get into it. Yeah.
Well, and you've also got
Are
seventh
filling out.
sister from Rebels,
Yeah.
and I think fifth brother is also in Rebels, right? I think so.
There's because there's a masked one too.
I think that there were 3 in Rebels, because there's the one guy who's kind of like Nightcrawler who was in the temple, and then there were the other 2. There was the Sarah Michelle Gellar and the guy that she went with that were in a lot more episodes. So I think that there were I don't remember what numbers they are, but I think that there were 3 in Rebels.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if there were extras in Rebels, but there's no end in sight.
Plus the Grand Inquisitor.
Yeah, there's no end in sight because they could just keep making numbers. There's no one saying how many there were.
And there's no statement too saying like, oh, that they didn't like, oh, once the 8th brother falls, do we replace him with an 8th sister? Like, is it a role? Like, how does this work?
Yeah. Are there direct? Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all sisters? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all brothers? I don't know. I don't think so. It seems like the implication is they're numbered as they arrive. So like 8th brother, like 7th sister, 8th brother, 9th. You know, it's the implication, I think. But we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. I don't know. That's all I had with toys. I just want to show you I think they're all going to get opened. They're not sitting on shelves or anything. They're going in the Star Wars bin, the Bounty Hunter collection.
That's good. Like you toys are meant to be played with.
I also got
you showed us this.
I also got these for the kids.
Very nice.
I like that Jawa pack because it came with 2 of them.
2 Jawas seems right. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Unlike the Black Series where they're like, no, there's just one Jawa, but he gets an extra little bin, and he's still the $20 to $25. So
they'll just
Black
reprint.
Series, here's your money.
They're just gonna reprint this for retro because it's the exact same.
The same POAs.
POAs, and they'll put a circuit board in it and call it the Obi-Wan series. If you're gonna steal my stuff, just sell it back to me. At least clean it. Yeah,
cleaning costs extra.
Yeah, pretty good. Okay, well, Celebration news. Since we've talked about Celebration, that you want to go over, other than I think Jedi Survivor. We just said it 3-4 times, but didn't say. They're making another Fallen Order game, and it's Jedi Survivor. It's good.
Yeah,
it was already rumored and pretty much confirmed. But it was cool to see a little mini. I would call it a highlight reel, not even really a trailer. It doesn't say anything about what's.
It's a
happening.
teaser. It's like, hey, the game's coming. It's confirmed now officially.
Yeah.
What's going to be about?
Well, they did say 5 years later.
Did they say 5 years later?
I don't know if it's in the teaser, but it's definitely announced that it's 5 years later, which would still put
it's quite a chunk of time.
Would still put it slightly before. It has to be slightly before the Obi-Wan series.
After. No, you're shaking. No, you have definitive timelines. You're gonna show me right now.
I have an answer for you.
Okay.
In the teaser, the Grand Inquisitor's in it. in the game.
The teaser for
Jedi Survivor.
Is he?
Yeah, the Grand Inquisitor's in the teaser for Jedi Survivor.
I don't remember. I watched it. I didn't remember that. I didn't see the news.
Pull
They
it
were all
up.
pretty. Pull it up. Yeah. Show me some stills, and that we'll post to Instagram at We Were Gamers.
You'll post them.
I'll post them. Sure. Yeah.
How do I take a still? Oh, there he is.
You can take stills from YouTube. You can't do it from most other.
I got it from. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to.
That drives me nuts that I can't take a screen cap on my phone if I'm watching something on
Disney
Plus and I want to take a screen cap. It just ends up as an all black screen, and I'm just like, why? So I literally have to put it up on my TV, pause it, and then take a picture of my TV with my phone if I want to show somebody what I'm talking about that's happening on a Disney Plus.
What's annoying to me is that on a Mac.
Oh no, that's
Mac,
not the Grand. Okay,
it is 1,000% the Grand Inquisitor.
That is an Utapawan who he's the
Grand Inquisitor. He has to be. Who else would it be?
I guess.
I don't have the chat.
I guess part
Where's the
of my
chat?
problem is no. I've got photos of it right here. I can easily do it. It's. I guess it could be the Grand Inquisitor. I just find it so. I don't know. Maybe it's because of the design aesthetics.
The design aesthetic that was a major thing for the Obi-Wan show. People flipped out that he doesn't look like he does in everything else.
Right, but like this one, I thought this was just like an older, because he looks heavy set too. Like he looks like that's why I just thought it was
He's got the little ear things. He's got the little ear things the Grand Inquisitor has.
Yeah.
I think it's the Grand Inquisitor, but
I didn't even process it as that. That's I just thought that was like just a imperial like nobleman who's like, part of he's like, oh no, I bought it but they took over Utapau and I'm gonna go ahead and get rich off this. But I didn't take it that was granted. That's fair. I don't know why I didn't process it as that. But
well, let's see. Kit, what do you think?
I haven't watched the video.
Well, time to take a break and watch the video.
This does. Obviously, it's an Utapawan, but we know that there's lots of them that are not the Grand Inquisitor. I also have thoughts about the Grand Inquisitor in Obi-Wan, but I'll save that for when we actually get into Obi-Wan. All I'll say is when
we get into Obi scoring.
Yeah, dude, look at that!
I'll save it.
What a good still. Okay, so it looks to me like Cal has a new vest and jacket in this photo. Yeah, definitely.
So you think that this is the Grand Inquisitor who shows up, who was in Rebels, who's
also in Obi-Wan
and Obi-Wan.
So, so he's just in.
Wait a minute.
So that's what
that timeline can't work. That timeline can't work out if he's in Rebels.
Yes, it can.
Rebels goes right up to. No, that's got to be a different dude.
So I have thoughts about that. Let's just get into this now.
Okay.
Spoilers for the end of Obi-Wan Episode 2. Do you guys think that the Grand Inquisitor, who I believe is supposed to be an Utapawan, who I also think that they did not do a great job on his makeup, is the same Grand Inquisitor who is also an Utapawan who is in Rebels when he gets stabbed in the second episode of, or do we think that it's a different Utapawan Grand Inquisitor who's in Rebels, who's alive 10 years later? Dies in Rebels.
That might answer our question about when.
Because when I watched that and he got stabbed, my immediate response was, "Oh, it's a different guy. That's why he looks different. They just duped me." And
they just have him either cloned or they just have like a family of Utapauans. They keep.
Well,
all right,
it's Star Wars. It's Star Wars. Darth Maul got cut in half and thrown into a reactor, and he was fine. So getting stabbed with a lightsaber in the a gut wound that would take him possibly days to die from.
No,
that does not mean in Star Wars that this guy is dead.
Hold on. Qui-Gon Jinn died in like 1.5 minutes from the same wound.
But I'm
He's
just
human.
saying. I'm just saying. It's Star Wars. This is not something that I think that they would view as something that he could not possibly come back from. But what do you guys think? Do you think that this is the same Utapau and Grand Inquisitor, or do you think it's a different person and this one died and there's another one who replaces him later? Because I personally thought that they did not do a good job on the makeup of this character when I thought it was the same person.
Man, you sure are on the one side of the internet. I don't care. I mean, this is the same thing with Ahsoka, you know, like how hard are they going to work to make things, you know, they could have made him more whiter and more red on the tattoos. Sure.
So here's mostly for me, the top of his head, and this might have been, when I was trying to figure out why they would do it, we know what Utapauans look like. They are in Revenge of the Sith.
You keep saying Utapau, Utapauan. It's
Utapauan is
Am I saying it wrong?
I think it's just Paun.
What his race we have seen in Revenge of the Sith, they looked much more like. So we had those live action. Then they made the Rebels version, which was obviously a computer animated version of that. And then they go to this version. I don't feel like this version looks very much like the Revenge of the Sith version at all.
I'm trying to find a picture of the Revenge of the Sith version. Oh, the really tall dudes.
Yeah, but also note that the Jedi Survivor version does look closer to that original movie version.
Yeah.
From the video game.
Right,
It looks more. Yeah.
When I saw the end of episode 2, and so in my mind, before the show came out and I saw the makeup, I thought my initial gut reaction was, boy, that does not look like good makeup. Like that looks like they did a really bad job. And then, but I assumed it was the same person. But then when we got to the end of the second episode and he gets run through, I was like, oh, did they trick us? Is this a different person? Are they going to kill him in this episode? And that's why, and it's a different person. That's why he looks different.
Yeah, it's possible.
But then I was also like, well, you know, there's also a good chance that he could just be back next episode and be like with some robot innards like Fennec.
I love Fennec Shand, yeah.
Yeah, and we move on. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think he's not dead, and it's makeup that you're not gonna like.
Okay, because I really do feel like they did not do a great job on his makeup. If they're trying to make him look like the Jason Isaacs Rebels Grand Inquisitor,
agreed.
Or really any of the other people from Utapau, like his teeth don't quite look right, and just sort of the shape of his head it seems too big at the top. It seems too bulbous.
Yeah, like it almost should have been a little more elongated, which would have made it look more inhuman, which is fine because that's what you kind of want. Like that's the thing is like you needed a lanky actor to play to get the Inquisitor that we were expecting. He needed to be far thinner and just kind of like this guy is thicker, like
he's beefcake.
Yeah, and he really doesn't. And I'm not one of those people who thinks that no, that wasn't what I'm. But for his voice, I didn't think that his voice really sounded much like Isaac's. But although I'm not one of those people who thinks that if you recast a role that person has to sound exactly the same, like in Superman Returns when they clearly had Brandon Routh play Christopher Reeve playing Superman. I don't think that you necessarily have to do that to be able to capture the essence of the character. But I didn't think that this actor sounded much like Jason Isaacs either.
Even in the cadence, like he didn't have the same diction. And he didn't seem like it was the same. Discrepancies from one iteration to the next. Like even when you look at Yoda from Rebels versus Yoda from Clone Wars, they had a different kind of style guide they're going with. So you have to kind of allow for that degrees of separation. So I was just kind of taking it. I'm of the camp of like he's going to survive, and this may actually make him be more lethal down the line because he's like oh no, if you little brat bags are going to try and do this to me, then that he steps up his game, and that's where we get a more controlled and vindictive Grand Inquisitor. Like this is shaping him on his journey to where we will see him. And I'm under the belief that they're all the same Grand Inquisitor. They are all, because also too, if you start to bring in some of the comics, you do have some of his backstory from his Jedi Temple Guard days and how he wanted to go into the library and certain, like, you have this character, so it's like we have an idea that it's the same person. So if they do change up that it's a different Inquisitor or a different Utapawan who's just the same, it's a little tougher. And so I think that he's still alive, and we're just going to see him rebound from this and maybe take steps to be far more aggressive.
So I did get confirmation that Jedi Survivor takes place in the same year as Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get to, because it's like, because you said it was 5 years later. I'm like, I don't think so. I think it's we're closer in the timeline to Kenobi.
No, it's 5 years after the first game, which is 5 years after the first movie. So this would make it 10 years
after
episode 3.
Yes, yeah.
So Obi-Wan is 10 years after episode 3, and Jedi Survivor is 10 years after episode 3.
Correct. Yeah, so that does put us, but then we're in agreement, because I was going to say, because I thought you were saying that Jedi Survivor was 5 years from Kenobi, and I'm like, no, I actually think they're right at the same timeline, which is why we're going to see more Inquisitors, and we're going to see, this is definitely a rife time with stuff going on. But it's crazy though, because it's like that's 5 years of him being on the run with Seer, and like, what does all that mean? Because
I want to play all that time.
Yeah, exactly. I want at least, like, you can give us a year off. Like, there's do the Battlestar jump of like 5 years later. Like, are you for real? Like,
yeah,
I want especially to have that time to see.
Given where the last one left off with what was her name? Started with an M.
Marin,
and they're like, oh well, maybe we will go around the galaxy being Jedi and looking for other Force sensitives and all that. Like, how does that go for 5 years when Obi-Wan can't manage to like turn on his lightsaber?
Yeah. But I mean, so we can jump into, I don't know where everyone is mind space wise, as far as if they want to talk about the toys first, because we got
Turtles in Time. What are we doing? Are we playing Turtles in Time right now?
Shredder's Revenge has been phenomenal.
Oh, I need to install it while we're doing this.
You want to affect your signal, your bandwidth that way?
Buddy, I got so much down, it don't matter.
All right, to each his own. If I start stuttering.
No, it won't hurt my speed. Although Xbox isn't loading. So what is Shredder's just a straight spiritual sequel or what?
Yeah, it is a sequel. Yeah, it's a spiritual sequel to all the classic Turtles beat 'em ups of the arcade game and Turtles in Time, which are also available on the Cowabunga collection shortly. But right now, it's just essentially
collection is not Xbox.
It's Xbox as well.
It's everything.
But it's reports of all the older games. That's what the Cowabunga collection is. The new games.
It's like the Konami games and the arcade games and a lot of stuff. I think it's coming out in December, right?
I believe that sounds about right, but of course we can fix it in post.
Will the Game Pass that?
That I don't know. I do know that the Turtles, the current one, is Game Pass, and I recommend getting it. Mm-hmm. I might actually end up getting a hard copy just because Turtles games, because of Nickelodeon being who they are and licensing, a lot of those drop out of availability. So having a hard copy and owning it wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah.
But it's available on PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch, and PC. So
cool.
Well worth your time. $25 to $24.99.
How frustrating, or how not frustrating?
Not frustrating. A lot of really smooth combat.
Kit should answer that question.
That's fair. Yeah.
Whether the game is frustrating?
Yeah. I mean, is it?
No.
Is it hold up?
So yes, it feels exactly like if they had made like in 1992 or 1993 if they'd made another arcade game.
I mean, it looks gorgeous.
And the nice thing is that there's arcade mode, and then there's story mode, and it's very similar, except that arcade mode you have a limited number of tokens that you can use, and both are at least online co-op, and I believe they're also couch co-op at the same time, and you can have up to at least 4. You might be able to have 6, because April and Splinter are so far just right out of the box playable characters, and I know Casey Jones is because I've seen pictures of it. I don't know if there's additional people beyond that you can unlock at some point, but it's
couch and online co-op in the Game Pass app say 2 to 6. I don't know how you get 6 controllers hooked up to an Xbox.
And they have
anymore.
Yeah, and they have difficulties. So it's like
crossplay.
You can do crossplay? Wow. Okay. I did not know that.
Yeah, Xbox cross-platform co-op is available. So my guess is it's the same as normal.
Oh, so just PC and Xbox.
PlayStation won't play nice.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll clarify. So when I was on PC, I was able to crossplay with other systems because it signs into the Epic Game Store, much the same way that Fortnite does for additional crossplay options. And
nice.
I think the same way that I played.
Did you wait? Did you buy it on Epic? Why did you launch the Epic Store?
Because I think that's how they do crossplay. That's how it connects for crossplay via like PlayStation, Xbox, and that way it's all connected on one kind of game store. And when I launched it on my PC and I went to go do crossplay, it launched the Epic Game Store to connect with friends. Because I have Epic Friends, just like I have Xbox Friends and PlayStation Friends.
That's how I feel. So twirling my mustache at that.
Ooh.
I twirl my mustache at the Epic Game Store.
I think
this experience is exactly what I wanted Battletoads to be, and it wasn't because it came out during the pandemic, and like I'm pretty sure Battletoads was not online co-op. You could only do couch co-op, which seemed it was one or the other, and I'm pretty sure you couldn't do online co-op, and which just seemed ludicrous to me in this day and age that they would do that. But like, yeah, I really feel like they hit it out of the park with the Turtles game.
6 players.
And like in story mode, there's collectible stuff, so I can go back and try and there's achievements so that I can try and like beat the first level without taking any damage and stuff, and so that adds replay value to it.
Oh my god,
so.
You're right. There is no online co-op for Battletoads.
I know, it's crazy.
That's nuts.
Even now they haven't patched that. It seems ridiculous, but
I'm looking at capabilities and it's got Ultra 4K. It's cloud enabled. It's got Xbox Cloud Save. It's on just no online multi. 2 to 3 local.
Yeah, like it really is still 1992 for the Battletoads. Yeah.
Wow.
And it's from the team that did the Streets of Rage 4. So like they knew they were coming in with the brawler aspect built. I also believe they worked on the Scott Pilgrim game as well, but I'm not. Now I'd have to double check that to see if if it's the same.
Currently are Young Souls.
Oh, no, that's Ubisoft.
Windjammers 2, Streets of Rage 4, Blazing Chrome are the ones that I see.
Gotcha. Okay. Or maybe it's just some of the music was from. Oh, maybe that's what it is.
I don't know. I don't know any of those games. Half of them are Game Pass. I guess I could try them. I don't know. I don't have time. I want to try this Turtles game.
I'm down for that. But yeah, it's definitely enjoyable. I recommend giving it a boot, especially if you have Game Pass. It's already there. There are what's the term? Limited Run Games is doing some special editions. If you want like a steel book and all the bells and whistles, if you're down for that, it sounds cool. It definitely seems like they got a bit convoluted with some of the stuff because like, oh, this has a VHS cassette tape box and then also a steel book and then also some stickers. It seems a little bit a hat on a hat at times, and I'm like, I don't know. I like it, but I'm also like, do I need all of that, or do I just need a copy of it so that when it goes,
You don't. I'm gonna step in here. I'm gonna play the JJ of this podcast.
Okay, go ahead, Wet Blanket.
But are you going to get the $600 version that comes with all the different versions?
No,
yeah,
you're not. You're not going to do
that. I saw that. It has your Switch, it has your Xbox, and it has your PlayStation. All three versions, and like also an arcade. It had some. I don't think it had the arcade cabinet, but it had something else that I'm just like, what are you doing here? It was insane.
Start saving money now for Jedi Survivor. So just start setting aside each time you think about buying a game, buy the version that's a little like $5 less.
Oh, I did want to mention though, in addition to like having the steelbook and all the games and stuff like that, it also comes with the stickers as well as a coupon for free personal pan pizza from Pizza Hut.
I saw that.
Okay, hold on. I want to do some math here. Hold on.
I still feel cheated when I still feel cheated when I watched the first Ninja Turtles movie. So I just watched it a couple of years ago for the what is that? The 30th anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a DVD copy. I still feel cheated that they don't have that Pizza Hut ad at the beginning of the movie that they had on the VHS tape from when I was a kid.
All right, so you said personal pan, huh?
Yeah, free personal pan pizza.
Okay, so how much is that version of the game?
Let me see. I don't, because there's 3 versions. Let me go back.
We got to do some hot math here and bore everyone. So I'll start with PlayStation Network. If you went out and bought Shredder's Revenge today, $24.99.
Yeah,
so that's like a full price version of the game. If you don't have something like Game Pass or PSN Plus or whatever.
Yeah, the MSRP is like $25. It was a very inexpensive game to buy.
Oh, and so in the limited run games, if it's just the baseline one that comes with the stickers and the coupon, it's $34.99.
A personal pan pepperoni lover's pizza is $4.79.
Yeah, that you get to save.
Yeah,
that's money in your pocket.
But that's not why he's getting it. He's getting it for and I mean, let's be real. He's probably never going to use that coupon.
You're not going to use the coupon, right?
Because he'd have to give them the coupon, and he's going to want to keep the coupon.
Yeah, you're going to keep the coupon because the coupon's going to look nice. So that's what they're counting on. So you're paying $34 for a piece of paper.
He's paying $10 for a physical copy, physical version.
Yeah,
the actual disc or card or whatever. If you get the Switch, I don't know.
So $10 isn't that big a premium because one thing I would say is like if you decide later you don't need it, you could probably resell it and you would get your money back, but you're never going to resell it. So
that's the funny thing.
So why not buy it digital and not clutter up your house?
No, I mean, and that's totally fair. But I mean, as a true Ninja Turtles fan,
okay, look, just buy the limited run version. I can't JJ this moment.
Yeah,
I can't convince you.
Regardless, I'm not doing the $65 or the
that's silly.
$300. Like that was never in question. But having a physical copy, because
what physical would you get? That's the question.
I think Xbox, just because I have more games on there. But also the discussion is too. It's like, well, I have it on Game Pass.
Yeah,
for
you could always play it there.
But
get it for Switch.
But that could eventually
cartridge
expire. But then at least I have it on Switch, and then I've got it wherever I want to go. All the only thing there is the online system without it's not, we don't have the OLED, so the online experience is always wireless and not hardwired, which I'm a ridiculous pedant and I want to have my game system hardwired.
I just spent probably 5 hours cutting and wiring cable. I make my own patch cable so that I could get when I've got a new PlayStation 5. I finally got one MSRP. I did not pay premium for that. And I was like, okay, this has got to be hardwired. And I had put in a port when we redid some of the house. I put in a port in a wall, but it's only one port. I was like, I knew I'd have to get a switch, not a switch. So I had to do a new patch cable from the port to the TV, put in the switch from the switch to the TV, the switch, from the switch to the switch, from the switch to the TV, from the switch to the PlayStation 5, and from the switch to the wireless transmitter that's in that room to repeat the signal. So I thought it was very relaxing. But you're not a pedant for it's not pedantic to want things hardwired. They just perform better, including a console that doesn't actually have a LAN port on it. Like the Nintendo Switch, you have to buy a USB adapter to plug in to the only USB port on the dock and then connect it to the LAN. And even that's worth it. I mean,
but wait,
there's 2 USB ports on the Switch? At least there is on mine.
But there isn't. But he's saying there's no LAN
on
port
the dock?
on the original Switch. On the dock on the original Switch. No, that's what kids say. You're saying 2 different things, but essentially it's the same idea. There's no LAN Ethernet cable port on the original Switch. There's 2 USBs, which that's how you would set up the thing. But on the new OLED ones, the base itself has an Ethernet port.
Yeah, I don't have an OLED one.
Right, exactly. So if you want the old one, you have to do what you have to get that pass through. I guess it would be, right. Is that the proper term? It's a dongle that goes to the USB.
I would just call it a dongle. Everyone.
I had one for my Wii.
Where's the other one?
I wonder if my Wii one would work.
What? No. Yes. If it's a USB, it will.
I'm pretty sure it is.
I don't. Do you have an OLED model?
No.
Switch. Where's the second USB port in your mind?
They're right next to each other on the dock. I have the second, there was the launch version of the Switch, and then there was the second version before the OLED, and I have that one.
This is why it's so much fun, because they're like, we should have done this to begin with. They should have just had an Ethernet port to begin with.
Not even the OLED shows 2 ports. Or a LAN port.
I'm pretty sure. Let me go double check.
Oh, there's a LAN port on this one. Okay. So they took the USB off of the Switch LED. Or they put them on the front or something?
I know there's one on the side, I thought. I don't even know anymore.
Where's the second one? Is it on the side? Oh, look at him. He can just walk straight to it. I feel like he's going to come back, and I'm going to be a complete dunce and not know that there's another Switch port somewhere.
Yeah, no, it's got 2.
Where?
On the dock. They're right next to each other on the.
Once you pull down the back flap.
Inside the cover?
Yeah, you pull down the back flap.
No, they're outside?
Yeah.
Where? I'll
take a picture.
Left? Yeah, send me a picture. I feel so stupid. My dock is behind the TV, and I've never used it before now. I've been very vocal about using my Switch almost exclusively handheld, but I decided I should hook up the dock somewhere, and I didn't have any room left on this TV because it's got 2 HDMI ports in it. That's it. Because it's a I don't know. It's like 2008 or something like that.
Yeah.
1080 Samsung. Probably needs an upgrade at some point, but it does 3D. Nothing else in the house does 3D. So it's got the PlayStation 3 plugged into it because the PlayStation 3 still does 3D. Oh my God. Is that a My Little Pony back there with Castle Grayskull? I'm loving the view of his office without his head in the way.
It should be. Well, my first thought it would be She-Ra's horse.
Wind
Dancer?
Swiftwind?
Swiftwind, thank you.
Isn't it Swiftwind?
Swiftwind sounds right. But She-Ra...
Yeah, it's definitely Swiftwind.
It is Swiftwind.
I knew it. Off the top of my head. How do you like that?
Bam.
Easy.
So even if it's not an original Swiftwind, it at least looks like a...
I'm going to sound smarter when he comes back.
There's Duplicate. He's got Duplicate in the background, too.
Oh, yeah, he does have Duplicate back there. That's a big Duplicate. That's the origin size.
Yep.
Yeah.
I guess I should wait till he is full on, like...
he's taking other pictures now.
He's
writing
like,
a message.
Prepared.
You are dumb. Here's how big of dumb you are.
It's
hey, bud. How you doing? How's it
It's
going?
our cardboard
Okay.
scoring channel.
Oh, is it?
So
Oh, it's on the
I took
Discord.
a picture of the outside, and then I took a picture of the inside where there's inside the thing where you open the little door, and it
Yeah.
shows that there's the one inside.
Oh
but then
my
there's
god!
The two on the
So
outside.
my Switch sits behind, my dock sits behind the TV, and this side of my dock faces away from me, so I never see it.
Yep. That's
Good
where
to
we
know.
plugged in our manual controller for a little while because we were between stick drift and also like charging and whatnot. And when we
Yeah.
first got it, we had a hardwired controller. Extra
I've
when we
never,
needed
but
it, so.
I have a launch model Switch, and I still haven't yet to get hit with Switch stick drift.
Nice.
I guess that means I don't play it enough. I don't know. I've got 200 hours on Smash Brothers, but
That's still it's good.
yeah.
Maybe it's also the games you're playing. Like I don't know. We're pretty.
Well,
I guess we're
learned
rough-ish.
something today.
Didn't they? I thought that they got rid of that on the Joy-Cons if you ran the update like years
Supposed to
ago.
have helped to give it more dead zone.
We haven't, although we haven't used the ones we haven't used our originals, the Joy Cons, for quite some time. We have the blue and yellow ones, like the neon blue and neon yellow.
Oh, I have neon yellow. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we also have the Zelda ones because I'm like, these are awesome.
Yeah.
It's a
Those
sword
were
and shield
good.
designs.
The ones from Skyward Sword.
You got it.
Those were good. Schmexy.
All right, you want to talk some Star Wars?
Actually, we were talking about Swiftwind back there at Castle Grayskull.
Oh yeah, is that Swiftwind back there?
It is. So it's not actually a Swiftwind. It's just a Pegasus. But yes, my daughter requested a Swiftwind, so I found a Barbie Pegasus for her
Yep.
to
We
put
were
her She-Ra on.
we were like,
That
it's
works.
at Castle Grayskull. It's got to be Swiftwind, but it just doesn't look right.
I will say, Mattel's leaving money on the table. If
She-Ra.
they put out more She-Ra stuff, and I don't mean like Leech, I'm
Yeah.
talking about like She-Ra, Angela. They're reprinting more She-Ras. There's apparently more She-Ras on the way because we have one ordered. But like, if they did Angela, if they did what's his name, Cowl, if they did Lookie, if they did if Mattel went back and did more Catra, more of those figures, and not just focusing on the evil guys like Hordak and Leech
Yeah.
and Mantana.
I agree. Yeah.
Actually, I don't think Mantana's out yet.
Well, so I had
anyway,
to.
But like,
I don't know.
if they would. I know that my daughter would get them all, and that's the ones that she wants. And like, we've been waiting for like a year for the She-Ra, and she's got the Filmation version that has like hips and shoulders and maybe waist version, but like she doesn't have the Origins version, and we've been waiting for like a year, and it's driving her nuts.
I
you don't have
have
the-
a
I'm surprised you don't have
similar.
the Origin one yet.
I mean,
It was
so-
sold out by the time we got into. By the time she got into She-Ra, it was sold out, and like they had like the second printing coming, and we placed the order like
Yeah.
in October, but like it still isn't to us.
To venture off real quick. Oh, go ahead, Andy.
Oh, it's just about that. So if you want to go, I mean, go ahead if you want to. I have more to say on this topic.
Gotcha. I was going to mention that we do have, as part of the Masterverse line, which, by the way, remember is multiple versions of them. It is a Princess of Power, but it's a Catra on the way, as well as a She-Ra from that. But it's not like a Revelations version. It is a Masterverse, which is like the overall toy line. So
That's
I don't know if you saw that.
That's the new
So-
Catra or the old Catra?
It's so by it being Princess of Power, it is the original Catra, but it is a modernized version of Catra and She-Ra, which are currently in our Discord right now. Those
Yeah,
are
so
both
that's-
going to be
That's the old
Those are-
Catra. That's the original Horde Catra.
right. Yeah, it's the old Princess of Power line Catra and Princess of Power She-Ra, but they are still doing the Origins She-Ra, but no one else so far.
These are
That's what
huge,
kids kind of like.
We're trying to stay in the scale. We've discussed it because she knows how big my Tila collection, the different Tilas in my Tila collection are, so I can show her. And I have like a couple Skeletors too. And she's like the Skelegod that I got is fine because when we play with it, it's fine for him to be bigger because he's super powered, but she doesn't want to have a 7-inch She-Ra playing with a 5-inch He-Man or Skeletor or Hordak or whatever. So we're sticking with just the regular 5-inch Origins ones.
I think
I'm sure there's a. Go ahead.
I think that your insistence has rubbed off on me, and I really, really love that I'm trying to keep in scales now with Star Wars and with other things. And so, I think we had talked about a long time ago that I had decided on the Super 7 line of He-Man and She-Ra toys. And so it's not just Hasbro that has left tons of money on the table when it comes to She-Ra characters, because they don't have much. They have, on the good guy side of that equation, She-Ra. And then they printed Hordak, Grizzlor, Mantenna, Shadow Weaver. I don't think they even printed a Catra. They don't have anything. They don't have like Bo. They don't have Glimmer. They don't have. I'm just like, how do you not have Glimmer?
Yeah.
Or Swiftwind.
I went on eBay and got a Catra, like a 80s Catra, and an 80s Glimmer, because like she wanted somebody to play with from that show, and they just don't have hardly anybody in the Origins line. Like they do have the She-Ra, and then they have Hordak, so we have the Hordak, and she can play with that. But we have a Horde Trooper that's currently sitting in my pile of loot for the next shipment. But like, I mean, it's really kind of sad. And I mean, like, I don't know if it's because they had the Netflix series that came out like, I don't know, 7 years ago or something. I don't know if it's like some sort of licensing thing, like because they were manufacturing those, like if like, because they just made those figures, like they have to stay away from most of the newer stuff or something, or they're trying to keep it from being confusing or something. Like, I don't know if those are still in print or not.
I think they're worried. They're probably worried about those being popular at this point, because that show was so long ago. It missed the He-Man revival of the new He-Man stuff.
But yeah, I find it very confusing and disappointing that they are, that other than making She-Ra and a handful of bad guys, that they won't make more of the figures.
It's really sad, and it's not just Hasbro. It's like everybody's like, I wonder if it's because the Horde crossed over so many times to He-Man that like people in He-Man know them, so they think they'll sell more. I don't know.
So yeah, and in terms of the Netflix She-Ra run, which I think has another name, but I can't think of what it is suddenly. Oh, it's Princesses of Power, because there's more than one princess.
Yeah.
That one
That's where Catra becomes a Princess of Power, like separately from the Horde, I think.
Yeah. And so in that series, they did have Super 7 put out a couple of 6-inch figures of just She-Ra and Catra as kind of reactions ish, because they just have like 5 points of articulation. But they
bigger.
were like they're 6 inches tall.
Yeah.
But they were but they were also like a special, like they were only for a limited time, and it was $50 for the two of them.
Good Lord.
Which is like, and considering like there's no articulation, it's just because they were like a limited run. I'm not sure if it's because I mean, this is before He-Man did the full revival, so I mean, it's a weird thing about licensing with because it's I'm curious what they would have to share with Netflix if they did, or what, because I mean, it's still their licensed brand, but what, I don't know how that all works out. So yeah, they definitely should have done some toys. They did some limited toys, like they did some dolls for the Princesses of Power storyline. So like if you had, like they had the kind of like Barbie-ish scaled dolls, kind of like Bratz sized, but not the giant head. They did some of those. So that's kind of like the most you could do for like fine for the Princesses of Power storyline. I think it's unfortunate. Yeah.
Gotta live with it. Yeah. I don't know. I two things. One, you guys convincing me to stay on a single scale has been very helpful for my sanity. And two, this past week we opened up some other from the pile of bounty hunter figures that I showed you guys last time. The kids, I let them open up 2 of them. I'm like, here, you guys pick 2 to open up this week because you guys were, did a whole bunch of good stuff at camp and all that. So why don't you, why don't you pick 2 to play? That process of watching them open a blister for the first time and being like, how do I tear this open? And I'm like, well, we don't really care about the backing, so just pull. That was a fun process to be like, open a real toy, No more pulling things out of the boxes that have 17 zip ties. You guys are grown up now. That was fun. So at least that part of the experience is good. I wish I could make it more fun with having more. You really have to try to not have a bunch of bad guys all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. I know some of it is troop building with Star Wars, and I guess we could transfer over to Star Wars toys since there's probably a lot to talk about there. For you guys, I didn't see a whole bunch for me, but
just the Kenobi wave for retro for me. That's basically all I'm collecting at this point is the retro.
Just retro.
Figures.
I'm more and more liking the retro line.
Yeah,
the colors are so vibrant and new and fun, but. Yeah, Kenobi's getting a retro line. Kenobi's getting a lot of Black Series figures. I mean,
there's
a ton of Black Series figures.
There's a ton of stuff there, and it's also like it's trickling out because it's like one thing is kind of fun about the Black Series. Not that I keep them, but they do this thing of having all the side panels line up. So it's like people are like, "Oh, there's a missing one here. What's that number going to be? And who's going to be? It's going to be Tala. Who's going to be in each spot?" And there's 2 Kenobis because there's a Target exclusive one that I'm like, just killing me.
The Target exclusive one looks better than the regular one too.
It does. It's just a blue repaint and he has a different cloak.
Yeah, I know, but it still looks better. It's funny.
Absolutely. And he does.
But you go with the other one. Get the one from the show. Who cares?
I'm gonna want both because I want the blue one because he looks better. But then the other one comes with Lola, the new droid, and I'm like, well, I like Lola.
So is this true? Is it true that Lola is from a Carrie Fisher thing, or was that fake?
So Lola was the name of Carrie Fisher's pet bird, I believe.
I thought that was
that's where
thing
that's
on the internet.
what the reference is. Yeah, that's
but
what the
I
reference
couldn't tell
is.
if it was real or not.
I mean, we could try and ask Billy
Carrie Fisher, Billy Fisher.
No, the daughter. Yeah, I want to say
Billy.
Ask Pablo. I bet Pablo's already.
Pablo Hidalgo. There you go.
Billy Lord.
Billy Lord. There you go. But yeah, so like I'm looking for the toys. I was trying to like look up the vintage collection, what they've showed for Kenobi so far, and I think they have showed some good stuff, but it's also just a matter of like, well, we're gonna, because like you've get him in his kind of the wandering Jedi version, and he's got like a little communicator, which is fun. Like
I think he comes with a little Lola also.
Oh, does he come with one there too?
Yeah.
They want my money. But
and
thankfully,
they have a couple versions of new versions of I think Purge Troopers and Anakin and a couple other things.
Yeah, there's a new Purge Trooper too. That's one thing that I enjoy about our conversations is like if there's something for each of us, like, oh cool, more Black Series, I'll take those. And just like we kind of cover all the bases.
Maybe I want a Reva. Maybe I want a Reva vintage,
Yeah. Oh well, there's also some the thing that kind of twists me.
Does she come with 2 holes in her?
That's just the same. It's the same hole.
It's why she survived the second time.
Yeah, it's like that's the scar tissue.
It's the same hole. That's funny. That's pretty funny.
I mean, you've got some like
that right there might be a spoiler. I'm gonna close this window. No more toy looking at for me.
Okay.
Yeah, for the retro line, I'm very happy with the figure. I feel like the robot. The inclusion of the robot is an odd choice, but maybe that was to avoid spoilers and leaks and stuff. But instead of Leia,
instead of putting Leia out, child actress, maybe they won't make a toy of her.
There might be a lot of reasons. It just seemed like an odd choice of that as the 6th figure, but I am I'm happy to get these. I'm disappointed that there's not a Book of Boba Fett wave. I just want Fennec. I just want them to make Fennec in the retro line. And I don't need anybody else. Like, they've made pretty much everybody else for Mandalorian season 2, but I want a Fennec. And I'm disappointed that I'm like, oh, I'm probably never going to get a Fennec.
Week 5 of no news of a new Cad Bane or Cal Kestis.
Yeah. I mean, I would love it if they did a full 6-figure wave for Book of Boba Fett, but it's looking unlikely at this point.
Dude, how cool would that be if they were just like, okay, Boba Fett, 6-figure wave, retro, Cad Bane, Fennec Shand, Rancor Keeper.
Yeah, Danny Trejo.
Cobb Vanth. Oh, yeah. Man. Weequay.
I mean, I mean, as part of that discussion, too, is that we have, in addition to...
I mean, there's a lot of toys
all this stuff.
Yet.
There's also the Legos, too, because they just showed like a new ship for the Bad Batch that come with a Fennec Shand Lego and a Cad Bane Lego.
Yeah.
So it's like, is, from the first season, so there's that.
Bad Batch got a big update on Lego. Yeah. Along with a few other Legos that I gotta get.
Yeah.
I gotta get that.
This weekend was Father's Day, and I put together my Naboo Starfighter Mandalorian. I don't know. Is it the Razor Crest 2? I don't know.
They don't have a name for it, right?
No, not yet. Just Naboo Starfighter or something like that. And it comes with a little single brick BB unit. Or not BD unit.
BD unit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Pelly's BD unit, yeah.
They don't have one of those yet either. I mean, you need to get a...
Yeah, there's lots of figures they could make in that Book of Boba Fett wave.
Oh, since we're talking about Lego, I saw that Buzz Lightyear movie there, bud.
Oh.
And that spaceship, that Lego spaceship that you sent us, looks different for a reason. So,
well, yeah, a lot of it's
not going to answer why. No questions as to why the ship design has changed so radically from what you would have expected Buzz Lightyear's ship to look like if you were a Toy Story fan.
Yeah.
You mean the packaging from the first movie?
Yes.
Or from the original cartoon series?
Or from the cartoon series, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm good. I'm surprised there's no retro collection of Fennec Shand. I was trying to, part of my brain thought that there was, but I just did a double check. I'm like, yeah, there's not.
Yeah, I'm currently using my Boosh action figure as a stand-in until I get a...
You paint the mask more, or...
She's not modified in any way. She's just a straight up Boosh, yeah.
I mean, you could get the vintage collection one and just put it in there for the time being. Yeah. But I understand.
I'm using the Super 7 Ripley from Alien as my Pelly right now. So
very nice.
That works.
She actually works great. I'm trying to figure out other stuff. Like I made a joke about how I was going to use my 2 Borgs as the mods, and then I was thinking I've got Ash from Army of Darkness, and he's got the chainsaw on his arm, so he could work too. And I'm like, all right, so I got 3 mods here.
Nice. Yeah. My kids had a Sue Storm that I have to fix from the Marvel version.
Oh, what?
So they managed to snap that right off. I said, wow. You could keep playing with it. Maybe she just turned her hand invisible.
There you go.
That works.
Wow.
Man.
The kids play rough.
Oh, did you guys see that there's a Firestar coming?
Yes, but and there's an Iceman. So that's very much a kit collection because it's like you two, it's at its scale. But I'm like, the card backs still bother me because they're a reference to nothing.
But they go in the trash though, so you can just ignore them.
But I bought the Spider-Man and the Iceman. And I'm like, I'm going to get Spider-Man and Iceman just on the off chance that at some point in the future they make a Firestar. I know that they won't. But if on the off chance that they do, I'll have these 2 ready. And so they're in my bin right now. And then I saw the Firestar and I'm like, yes.
Yeah. I was very happy to get Firestar in the Marvel Legends. Like they finally released her. I was so happy about that because I'm like, and I've got an Iceman. Like I love that team. I have right here, I mean, it's the HeroClix Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. Like I haven't even played with it because I haven't played HeroClix in so long. But it's Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. I love it. Like,
I mean, I had the HeroClix Invincible stuff for a while because of like it's Invincible. It's in HeroClix. I actually cleared out most. I still have my. You can't see it because the helmet's in the way, but you can see Adam Eve back there.
I can see Adam.
And then Invincible's right here. I still have my 2 statues, but I cleared out most of the other. What? Shh.
It in my head. I just hear like, oh, that's awesome. How'd you get that?
I'm glad there exists a record in someone's mind for basically the rest of time of one of my most embarrassing moments that people nowadays would be mortified about. But it doesn't affect me at all because at the time none of them were famous.
I disagree because I don't think I don't think as many people would have recognized Corey Walker as they recognize Kirkman.
If his badge had been turned around, I would have seen his name and then said, "Oh, you're Corey Walker."
Or if he had been set up at the table as if he was, because he was like he came in.
He was over signing for Battle Pope on the other side. It's like, okay,
yeah,
good. Have a good time with that Battle Pope book over there while I enjoy your better comic that ended up becoming an amazing film series on Amazon Prime.
There you go. Yeah, that'll forever be a funny moment in my head. And it's mainly because you said the statue. That's where my brain went specifically.
I have the statue now, so he has nothing over me. I have it now too.
He has nothing over me.
Oh man, can we talk? I know we're here to talk Star Wars. Can we talk about Invincible for 4 minutes?
Yeah,
I promise to keep it short. This, and this boxes.
Mm-hmm.
All those, but these are sleeved first run comics. This entire box is slabbed directly from Image boxes of all Invincible books. All this, they're all full. I up until recently had every Invincible comic ever printed, multiples in some cases. So like I have multiple number 1s. I have multiple issue 100 was reprinted like 50 times with different covers and sketch covers and this and that and the other. Some of them are even like blue line covers underneath the other covers that you could only get if you went to certain conventions and stuff like that. And that was really fun to track down. And even the hardest ones to find until the Amazon show came out were like $100. And I felt like this is, as I started to pare down what I'm collecting in my life, as things are, I've got to afford windows for this house, man. I can't collect everything in the world. And I thought the comic series that was over was a safe thing to be like, I will pick up the tiny pieces of this exact thing that I'm missing. And I even went so far as to say, like, I don't need the action figures. They take up too much room. I want to put out my lightsaber that I made at Disneyland that reflects me, that I got pieces of junk sent from Florida for me. Kit had a revelation. I want to display my 4 statues that I really care about, but I don't have the room for these action figures. I don't have the room for these, and I'm not going to let the kids play with them and all that. So like clearing all that up. So in the last couple months, I don't know if you know, Image has started to get involved with that website Whatnot. Have you heard about this?
Sounds vaguely familiar.
Okay, it's an auction site that is basically come to prominence because of their ability to sell Pokemon cards for exorbitant prices.
Okay.
Everything is like live auctioned on streams. And because they're live auctioned, they obviously go for more than like their eBay cousins, where people have time to sit there and think about it and price against other things and decide if they can get it a different way. So I, didn't want to miss out on stuff, and they started reprinting after this is more than 4 minutes, but it's a long story, I guess. It was longer than I intended. After the Amazon show came out, they were like, you know what? We're going to do the same thing we've done for Walking Dead. We're going to reprint number 1 with foil covers. I was like, all right, that's fine. I'll buy foil covers of the number 1. That's fine. And they come slabbed already. They're all 9/8. I actually got a 9/9 because they upgraded it just randomly. They just picked one person and gave them a 9/9. They're all the foil covers. They're all slabbed. Great. I got them all. You know what? I spent too much money, but I kept my collection complete. I'm happy. I can put them on my wall. I can do whatever. Then they started selling slabbed random issues that I already had, but like issue 100 slabbed for $100. Okay, well that's like whatever. I'll pay for that. Sure, I like the cover. Issue 10 or 11 slabbed. I was like, okay, fine. I continued to buy these things, and then they hooked up with Whatnot. They started.
One thing too about the gradient stuff is the gradient is going to cost you X amount anyway. So if you're just going for 100, like, okay, well that's
exactly
kind of negligible.
And because I'm not going to pay to slab the whole collection, they hooked up with this Whatnot site, and they started selling blind bags of number 1s that are 3 different variants, limited to 450 copies, 150 copies, and 50 copies. Some of these are going for $1,500 unslabbed. I've never been handed a pink slip before. I've quit every job I've ever left, right? Like, I've decided when to leave. It was crushing. I've never been told by a company that they don't want me in their hobby before.
I mean, they still want you. They still want your money, but you're not willing to give it, which is fair. So technically speaking,
I can't buy that. I physically...
Yeah, right. No, that's fair.
I have a family and a home. I cannot spend $1,500 on the 15th copy of the same sheet of paper because Tyler Kirkman made it, and it's a black and white variant 1 in 50 that is gotten in a blind bag on a website. Who treats people like that?
Comics.
What the heck? That's it. I just wanted to get that. I know you guys don't have any insight into the industry and why they would do that, but I had to get that off my chest. I couldn't stand it. I couldn't believe it. I got caught up in it too. Initially, I was like, well, if I get one for $400, the blind bag is $400, but if I get the right one, then I'll get all 3. And then I'll have saved X dollars. Like, what am I saving? I'm not saving money. I'm spending $450 to try and get 3 copies of a comic I already have already.
Roll the dice.
What am I doing? And I after the first time trying to do that, I was just like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, it's just greed.
Dude, I can't complete my collection in this hobby that I already had complete. I had a complete run of first print. So now it's like, oh, well, why don't I sell everything that's not a first printing? Because there's no point. Have you ever dealt with anything like that before? It's nuts to me. It's nuts. It would never happen in anything else other than comics, I guess.
On the Toys That Made Us, when they talk about Star Trek toys, they talked about that's how Playmates killed the Star Trek toys in the 90s. Because they had so many people who had a complete collection of all of the different Star Trek toys, and then they started doing really stupid, like 1 of 10s, and things like that, where like it wasn't even that the people couldn't afford it. It was like there were 10 copies in the entire world, and there were 1,000 people who could afford astronomical amounts of money who were huge Star Trek collectors. And so they gave up, and like they're like, well, I was getting 3 versions of 3 copies of every single figure that you put out, and they were putting out a lot of figures back then, and Playmates killed it because they did this stupid like ultra super duper rare thing, which to me has never really made sense because they can't make that much money off of those. Like if you only make 10 of something, and even if you sell it for $100, like they're probably losing money on those figures, with like the tooling and the design and stuff. But like, I mean, it can't be a huge moneymaker for them. So I don't know, but there's definitely some other precedents in other collectible markets where the company just gets too greedy, and I'm actually surprised that baseball cards are still going, because they've been doing that for like 20 years.
Are they still going? I don't think they're really still going.
They're
so
they're for like super duper collectors, because they're like, you can get the baseline pretty easily, but then there's like, you know, they cut up some game worn jersey and put that in there, and it's like 1 of 100 or something like that, and it's like that's where all of their money is, and it's like a ton of money from a very small group of
it's the free to play games. It's the whales. Find your whales.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, on the card market. So for those who don't know, I'm semi in the card market. Check out Comic Banter on Twitch. But they now Marvel trading cards are sold like, oh, here's a box. It has the box of cards you buy is something like $100 plus, maybe $120. You'll have 6 packs of cards with 5 cards per pack. And in those, you may get a foil, but the foil could be, it's a gold foil, or it's a red foil, or a silver foil. And there's 6 versions of the foil, and then there's still just the base card of that. And then there's also the ones where it's like, oh, this, like he said, the jersey ones, like, or here's a signed card. They had this for the Star Wars cards too. They had like, oh, you get a card signed by Captain Carson Teva, the Paul Sung-Young Lee, the guy who I think is awesome from Kim's Convenience. Like they're very much a Wales only market. It's only like a pack.
That guy is awesome.
Yeah, and it's like you have the current collecting market is just the high rollers, as opposed to when we collected cards like the Marvel trading cards. Like, oh, it's like maybe $2 per pack, and you get 14 cards, and each box had 40 packs in it, and it was just like, oh, you're collecting to trade them all and get the whole set. That's what all those are up here. But now it's like, oh, well, the card sets are in the. You have the baseline, which even the baseline's like, oh, well, is that a blue base or a red base? And they have so many different levels of adding it to just be like, well, if you want the whole set, it's like 600 cards, and every card, the cards individually can sell for $30 to $40 for a card, a single card. That's asinine. It's insane. Like, I can't process that, but it's because I come from the mindset of like, oh, trading cards come in a pack of this, and you get 14 in a pack. Like, that's what you get. Like, that's what I'm used to. But the market has changed so completely that they're like, we are only going for the whales. Like, look for a box of Marvel Masterpieces, like 2021, and they're going for anywhere from 100 to 200 per box. Like, that's and the amount of cards you get is, I'd have to do the math, but it's insane. And also they're like, oh, but you'll get a sketch card in every box. But the sketch cards are from artists who are not necessarily published artists. They're published, and the upper deck is paying them to draw these cards, but it doesn't mean that they've drawn an issue of Spider-Man. You're just getting, I mean, for people who go into artist alleys and Comic Cons, you can go to Artist Alley and find an artist who's never been published, but still does good work. But these are the type of people that they're reaching out to, because that's who they can afford, because they're paying pennies for these cards. Like, a lot of as more and more artists get their names, they might do 1 or 2 cards, but they'll be paid especially high, so they could be there as those spotlight ones. Like, oh, you could get this artist, but you're likely going to get one of these guys over here who is just like our stable of artists who come in to do sketches all the time. It's crazy. Like, I can't imagine dropping that much money and being like, oh yeah, you get a sketch card from this random dude who you've never heard of, has never done any work with Marvel, but here's a sketch of Impossible Man. I dropped $100 for a card that big. Like, no, that's not for me. But that's where it's kind of like they're only and that's kind of the problem with comics again right now, is of course we're getting back into like, oh, that variant bubble, we're getting there again, but like we didn't learn from anything. We just keep breaking people over the coals because we can. Moving on.
Yeah, I think if we're gonna talk about being mistreated by evil empires, we have a very clear second topic to discuss.